Good evening, everybody. But the one thing that we are going to be concentrating on is a high profit, what I call the top ranked signals and patterns, which we're going to have that training session. That was a link that we put in earlier. So as you see, there's kind of a trend going on. Tuesday nights we're using for the basics, just to get that information into everybody's head, even those of you that have seen candlesticks for years. Still want to refresh everybody's memory of why and where they work effectively. 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be concentrating on what I call the top ranked signals and pattern combinations, because we're going to kind of kind of formulate this into that the one thing that everybody looks for when they start investing is, boy, I want to find a system that will work for me. And that's where we've got the benefit of having candlestick signals that work very effectively because of the historical results that Japanese race traders have identified for us, that human nature works in the same patterns and creates the same signals over and over. Then on top of that, you have to learn how to control your own emotions. Even though you've got a good trading program, you still have to know how to control your emotions. So that is a good, what I call the excellent step 2 and step 3. And the one thing that most investment programs overlook is step 1, which is learning how to invest correctly. So we've got step 2 and step 3, the signals and patterns, and then figuring out how to control your emotions. But this is all going to be fodder for going back to step 1, which is learning how to invest correctly, which there is no I don't want to say training for that. I mean, most people come right out of the chute, they get some investment money, or they decide they need to learn how to invest, and they skip the factor of how to invest correctly first before doing anything else. Fortunately, with candlestick signals, being that it's a format of investor sentiment, that it kind of fits in as a very valuable tool for teaching people how to analyze and learn how to invest correctly. So we're going to be doing sessions, and a lot of these sessions or trainings are going to be based on not so much demonstrating how to trade correctly, but kind of going back into everybody's psyche as far as, all right, what do you think about when you're investing? What method or what avenue should you be taking to learn how to invest correctly? So that's going to be kind of our fall mantra here, is teaching people how to invest. And the candlestick signals and patterns are probably the correct method for getting to that goal. So here's what we've seen here. I don't know why this is disappearing like this, but we can see what happened in this in the Dow. This downtrend of the of this wedge formation. You can see how it's supporting off the 50. You can see what happened right here. Doji on Friday. Today followed by a gap up. We all know that's one of your most powerful reversal signals, your best friend. But we've got the additional analysis of where did this doji occur, right smack dab on the bottom of this wedge formation. Where did the trading go today? it gapped up through the top of that wedge formation. What did that tell us about the investor sentiment that created this wedge formation? Now there's a different different element, that there's a new dynamic in this market trend, hopefully along the same magnitude as this right here. The reason you want to have the basic candlestick analysis in your head is, look what happened on the NASDAQ. There's your kicker signal. Where did the kicker signal occur? Right off the T line. And where's it heading? For the breakout area. So this all gives us, you don't have to register each week for the training sessions, do you? That I don't know. I doubt if you have. Now, if you're a member, you don't have to. As a matter of fact, the easiest way to do it is just stay right in the room, and when we come back on at 8 o'clock, you'll be there. What about horizontal resistance points? Are they relevant? Yes, anything that you can see that is a something that everybody else can see. We want to know what's happening once we get there. So we've got a kicker signal that was heading up to this resistance level. If it goes through, what's it tell us? We're playing another move like this. Can a kicker go from a green candle? No, that's not a kicker signal. That would be just more of a gap up, depending on the formation. Your kicker signals where they open it here and close it here, they're bearish. Kicker signals when they gap it up above the previous day's open and go the opposite direction. Something like this, that's just a gap up. Okay. Not a whole lot over in the commodity area. The crude oil prices are kind of just sideways. The only thing that has any relevancy to it right now looks like the December coffee. Got kind of the base in here, and now coming back up through the T line after a kind of a little morning star signal. That's the only thing that I can see right now that's trading well in the futures area. Gold got hit today. Let's see if this is the right gold chart. Yep, so it got whacked with that doji type day on Friday, gap down today and trading a little bit lower after hours. And silver, same scenario, which is making a lot of these gold stocks time to come out of them. AGI had they must have had something else other than the gold price hit it. But you can see here's Gold Corp. Failed right at the 200. You might start looking at shorting some of these. Yes, tomorrow's session is 4:30. Yeah, I usually think of 8 o'clock, but for some reason they got tomorrow's at 4:30. Okay. So the reason we want to know what patterns work, kind of have a big fry pan bottom scoop type pattern, but there's our message. Remember what our message is. When they gap it up, even though they're selling it off, you may not be buying now, but there was a message here that they were trying to come in with great enthusiasm. So what do we look for after a message? We want to see when the profit taking stops and the buying starts. That kind of continues our message that there was a lot of strength coming in. That one kind of corresponded with, pshaw. I'll be a son of a gun. Oh, guess there was a couple of messages set up today. All right, let's go through some of these. ARWR, still working nicely because of this big, huge, big, huge fry pan bottom breakout. We're just staying long on this until we see a sell signal. So these big fry pan bottoms, as you can see, as we can see over here in our recommendation on DVAX, we're right here at the breakout area. You can still be buying this one. Oh, this is what I was getting to. Notice what happened on EFII. When it came gapped up here, failed at the 50. Now it's done kind of our little bobble pattern. You can get ready to buy this. What did this area tell us? It was profit taking. What this signal or Morningstar signal tell us? Profit taking's over. Not only over, they're coming back up through the 50. You can still be a buyer of this with the anticipation. Your first target is the 200. Second target probably coming up here to fill this gap. SQM. These are the type you like to get caught in. That you can see the J-hook pattern. Now you only have one criteria. You stay long until you see a sell signal. However, anytime we see exuberance start coming in, especially when we're up in the overbought area, that's when you start looking for your potential sell signals. I think that's the same scenario over here. An MYGN. Notice what happened up here. They gapped it up in the overbought condition. That's when you start looking for profit taking. So these are all just kind of simple, basic rules that you're going to have as a benefit of candlestick analysis. There's our bearish engulfing signal in the overbought area. That alone becomes something that tells you, all right, we want to start getting out of this position. But because of the visual aspects of candlesticks, we got more benefit to seeing where did this occur. Right smack dab at the same level, we had a bearish engulfing signal on the top over here. So that now, knowing that there's a sell signal and it occurred at the same place you had a sell signal, that's where I put that in the category observe the obvious. This is obviously where they can't get through. It's time to take profits. Lumber liquidators. Another one where it's just safe to have your stop. Again, these are all common sense applications. To have your sell stop, that if it opened and traded below this level, if you didn't come out there, which you might not have, at least if it came down through the T-line, you close it out, especially up here in the overbought area. What's the worst case scenario? It turns around and comes back up. You can always buy back in. So the patterns, there's WST, which we recommended. Why? Because of the fry pan bottom setup. Liquefied lumber. Would you have a stop at the bottom? Yes, that would have been a safe place to have a stop. Anytime I get up in the overbought area, what should we expect if this was in an uptrend? At least probably, even if it opened lower, still at least trading in this direction. The fact that you're in the overbought area and you came back down through the low of that previous day's open, use that as your stop. Just a common sense place to put a stop. Again, same scenario. What's the worst case scenario? Comes down, comes back up. You can always buy back because what would this be looking like? Like a big hammer signal. Right, yeah. Right now, lumber liquidators is not a sell signal. the selling was significant. So if it's not a sell signal, even if you close it out, you're kind of your thought process, so this isn't a true sell signal. Oops, we did that one. Get ready to buy it back if it comes back up through back up above the T line. Got a bearish engulfing signal here in SPPI. Makes it very simple. If it opens lower tomorrow, you close it out. Wait to see what it does at the T line. But right now you're in an overbought area with a bearish engulfing signal. The worst case scenario is you sell it out, it hits the T line, bounces back up, you can buy back in. Now, Home Depot sold off today. It was down $1.29. Probably on the result that the hurricane in Florida wasn't as devastating as everybody thought. So they sold it off. If you looked at this on a dollar basis, yeah, it sold off $1.30 today. If you look at it on a candlestick basis, yeah, they sold it off, but then they were buying it back in an indecisive trading day, and you were still above the 3T line, telling us they weren't selling it off with any great enthusiasm. Not really an evening star. No, remember, an evening star has a big up day, a day of indecision, and a day that closes more than halfway down that first big up day. A lot of people were asking about CNAT today. Nothing yet that told us that there was any sell signal. Now you can still see the fry pan bottom trajectory. So once you buy this based upon that pattern, notice we also had a bobble breakout. So you got a bobble breakout, you got a fry pan bottom. What's our criteria? Stay long until you see a sell signal. Home Depot, yeah, you could have a tri-star. Again, it'll be a function. Remember, if it opens lower tomorrow, they're going to move it in the direction how they open it. So you got 3 dojis up here. If they open it lower, where's your next likely target? Coming back to test the T-line. Why would you think it's going to test the T-line? Pretty much if you draw a trend, oops, that's probably a little bit. This is kind of your resistance level. It sometimes comes back and tests it, see if it's going to act as a support level. Now, when I say it's going to come back and see if it's going to act as a support level, you can see what type of signal it does if it gets to that level. Is Home Depot a failed trend flutter kicker? I'll go back to it again. DK, you can be buying this one, a bobble J-hook pattern breakout. Not really. And it's not remember, a flutter kicker. Yeah, nah, you still need solid candles to create the flutter kicker. These are all kind of doji days up here. Again, things like Wi-Fi, you just stay long as it doesn't close below the T line. This belt hold on Genco Solar, still compelling that they wiped out a lot of sellers. And how long do you stay with this one? As long as it doesn't close below the T line. All right, what else we got here? Oh, Teva. Teva was brought to everybody's attention early this morning because Nora in the options room was trading it, made good money on the initial pop. So what do we got here? We've got your best friend signal. A lot of people are hesitant to buy a stock that's up 10, 15, 20%. Shouldn't be if you know what type of signal it is. There's your best friend signal. What is the expected result? we saw a Newlink. Best friend signal had another big profit move to it. I think, Nora, we were discussing that earlier, that if you are up early, not early before the market opens anyways, if you watch to see what scrolls along the bottom of some of these, whether you're watching Fox Business or CNBC or Bloomberg, they usually have the scrolling thing along the bottom. And if you watch to see which ones are getting a lot of activity pre-market, that's when you kind of take a look at it. So that's how I suspect some of these are being identified. CG, notice its best friend signal breaking through this downward trend channel, probably has more upside. So the reason we want to keep an eye on some of these signals, here's Goodyear, doji gap up, kind of a big fry pan bottom. I suspect there's more upside. So knowing what to look for is just something where you gain an advantage knowing what the results should be based on what usually happens after certain situations, like our best friend or our doji rule. It's going to move in the direction how they open it. If they open it positive, what type of signal do we have here? A doji sandwich. Where did this doji sandwich occur? Right smack dab at this breakout level. What's that tell us about this pattern? That we probably still have more upside. So this is just putting pieces of evidence together. Whoops. Whoops, I just did that. So that you can add everything up and have a lot more accurate assessment. Was that a slow curve? Nah, that was more of a slow curve usually acts pretty quick. Which one did I can't even remember what we just looked at. AMGN? No, that's more of a fry pan bottom. That's more of a J hook. Slow curve, kind of see it curving a little bit more convincing or compelling. Doesn't matter. It's still kind of the same thing, J hook pattern or a slow curve, as long as you can see that there's the investment pullback was indecisive and they took it back up again. Let's see, what was I trying to do here? Depot. Kind of a doji sandwich, breaking out a little bit. Something to keep an eye on. And SCS, there's kind of your bobble. Now, so this is a good setup. Because notice it held right here at the T line. And what did it do today? Obviously a doji. If it opens positive tomorrow, what can we assume? That day of trading is going to be the same as this day right here. And if that's the case, what's this little pattern become? A J-hook pattern breakout. So if they're supporting on the 50 and they're doing a strong buy signal, a doji sandwich, what can we assume as being our next target? The next major moving average. BAK, you can kind of see the kicker signal today. What type of pattern? Fry pan bottom. What's the kicker signal imply? There's going to be more upside. If there's more upside, what's happening right here? Got kind of a trend breakout. Best friend, have to wait for today's candle to finish. Yeah, if you see a gap up from a doji, if you're aggressive, you can start going after it. And when do you start going after it? Let me go back a few steps here. I'm going to go to Newlink. If I saw something like this and it was trading right here, what's your next step? You go to your 10-minute chart. Let me see if I can find it. So if your 10-minute chart is starting to show this, what's that tell us about our gap up, that it's still being bought? You can go after it. What did we just look at? Teva. So what happened today on Teva's chart? Gapped up. There was our message. Message told us the profit taking was over on the 10-minute chart. Headed up further. You could have taken profits here, but notice what it did by the end of the day. It said it was still holding up here. It wasn't coming all the way back down. So if we know it's holding up, what's that tell us about our daily chart? That our daily chart is still going to hold up. We're probably going to be finishing up as a best friend type signal. Yes, a gap up from a doji, especially if the doji's in the oversold area. And when we do our top ranked signals, that's one of the top ones, if not the number one top signal. All right, where am I now? BAK we did. IMMU. Just observe the obvious. What do we got going here? A J-hook pattern. So if it opens positive, what's it telling us? Our little doji bullish confirmation J-hook pattern is in progress. So what do we watch? Watch to see what it does once it gets here. If it goes through, what's our next expectation? Price move the same magnitude. Kenneth, if I had seen, I guess you're talking about Teva. Yeah, and this is where we kind of go back to learning how to invest or what your risk reward factor is. If I'm more conservative, I might say, yeah, I'm going to wait to see what it does on tomorrow's open. If I'm more aggressive, I might be buying right in here with the expectations I've got some more upside. So that's why knowing what each candlestick signal and pattern represents allows investors to make their own assessment of how aggressive they want to be. And again, going back to not what to invest in, but how to invest in it. So again, trying to get more into the learning process of how to trade successfully versus just trying to teach people how to trade something, but kind of skipping over all the other elements that you need for successful trading. EXTR, you can see the little J-hook type pattern. You can stay long on this one. HIMX, that's a more severe J-hook pattern. So if this open positive, depending on your risk reward factor, you start, if you're an aggressive trader, you start going after it. And where do you not want to see this trade? Probably don't want to see it come back down below the halfway point. If this is going to be a successful trade and it opens positive, which way do we expect it to move? This direction. And AKBA, there's that little scoop J-hook pattern. Where's your next likely target? Back up to the top of the trend channel. Did I skip this one? HLD. Little scoop pattern. Where's your next likely target? Probably the 50. Goes through the 50, fill in the gap. So you've got a good 35% upside on this one. So Tahoe, there's your message. The message was they got into this with great enthusiasm. There was some profit taking. So what do we look for? if the profit taking's over and they start buying. How do you know pullback only? How do you know pullback only? I don't know what that means. MT for which one? And G-Pro. Again, what's our simple rule of a doji? It's going to move in the direction of how they open it after a doji. So if we see this type of trading, what's this tell us from here down to here? Profit taking. They open up positive the next day. What's that tell us? Well, first of all, you got the doji rule, number one. Number two tells you the profit taking's over. This gap up force is still in progress. It's IPXL. Another one that tells us a little scoop pattern. The uptrend's still in progress. Verifone, look at the big reversal here. Big bullish left-right combo with a booster. J-hook pattern. Would be buying this one on positive trading. Yeah, pullback, if that was the question. I'll see if I can find something. Whoops. That, yeah, because of the nature of each candlestick signal, that one's breaking out. Let's see, on pay. Yeah, kind of a belt hold type signal. And was there any other relevance of where it opened and started trading back positive again? Yeah, smack dab off the 200. And the visuals of what we're looking at are much more compelling because we can see graphically where everybody's decided to buy or sell. Tell, there's more of a slow curve. That I would put into a slow curve basis. And notice how it broke out with your doji sandwich. In ACLS, there's your bobble breakout. How did it break out? With your doji or your doji sandwich. Oh, who did? Who's that right? All right. Something not working there. There's a big fry pan bottom on D now. Now, is it worth buying this? Well, if we can kind of factor that our 50-day moving average is our next target, and it's going to take about 15% to get there, yeah, that's worthwhile. Getting in, waiting to see whether it's going to fail up 15%, or if it breaks out. Now, if this was 3%, I may say, yeah, let's wait until it breaks out. So we've got some reason to be going after it. Textron, left-right combo, breakout. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Any relevance of the breakout? They're kind of a trend breakout. And they gapped up through that level. Tells us probably got a new investor strength in this one. SRPT, there's our message. Pull back. Where did it pull back to? Right smack dab to the T line. Now you can think about going after it again. All right, so on the other side, if you want to have some shorts in here just to be safe, notice where the shooting star doji gap down occurred in SPW. The reason we were shorting it today was it kind of broke through this support level. can pretty much draw a parallel line. So when it broke the lower part of this channel, that makes the 8 or the 200 our next likely target. And Ren, kind of that same scenario. When it broke through this level, but notice where we are. Got a doji here getting toward the oversold area. So what's our trading criteria or trading setup at this point? We don't want to see it trade back up above this level. That would tell us the doji is acting as the bottom. What we want to see to stay short is that it still continues to trade weak, which is somewhat evident in the fact that it traded flat today when the market was up strong. Now, on something like CINA, we closed out on that same basis. You kind of had a support level right in here with a doji bullish confirmation. That becomes a much less prospect that they're supporting here. It's not a good short. John V., that's exactly why you're here today. That's why when there's so many good charts, which ones are the best ones? And that's why we're doing the top-ranked session in 2 weeks from now for that very specific purpose, that if there's 20 good charts, 30 good charts, the market has bottomed, or we can see the type of pattern that the general market is showing us that we want to be a buyer. And we've got 25 good prospects out there. Which ones do we want to obviously have our money in? The best ones we can find. So the top-ranked training session is going to be looking at the ones that have the most upside potential signal combinations. And that's going to include the signals that have the doji involved, which anytime you have a doji involved, the reversal is usually going to be a little bit more compelling. Or which signals individually work the best. And it could be any signal in the oversold area followed by a gap up. Or which pattern breakouts. We're going to go through each one of those. Rick, yes. Those are two of the, I think I've got 13 or 14. So what we're going to do, again, for the educational process, you're going to have seen all these signals or patterns. We're going to go through them and describe why they work effectively, give you more time to visually recognize them, and then at the end of the session, we're going to spend the last part of the session taking all those 13 and putting those in the chronological order of which ones starting from the best to the worst. Now, that doesn't mean the worst one out of those 13 is bad. It's just saying if we've got 25 different charts that look good today, which ones do we want to recognize as being the very best? Because if it's time to make hay while the sun shines, we want to find the best hay. Some of these great short charts are HTB and have a few puts. I don't know what HTB is. And the quiz will be, how do you do the next week in the markets? Hard to buy. Oh, yeah. So if some of them are hard to buy, and that's why I try to stick with short positions that have enough volume. For example, Watt. When it opened positive and started trading off, where was the best place to put your sell stop? Right back below the 50. If you didn't do it there at the open or the close of yesterday or Friday, because if it comes back down through there, what's it telling us about the 50? That's where they're selling. Now we got a big bearish engulfing signal that could be telling us that it's time to start going short on this one. and I don't have volume over on these. So again, anytime I pick out short positions, remember our criteria for longs is anywhere from 200,000 with stocks greater than $5, that combination. Well, if I'm shorting something, I'm usually trying to short stocks that have much bigger volume because of the logistics that most brokerage firms, the reason you can short it is because they've already had people sign their margin agreement that if somebody needs to borrow your stock, they can pull it out of your account and lend it to somebody that's shorting and then just put it back in later. They're giving you authority to anytime you sign a margin agreement, it's giving them authority to use your stock for lending to somebody else. But if it only trades 200,000 shares a day, they might not have that stock in inventory in their customer accounts. That's why you want to stay with big volume and or try to buy the puts. Is there any truth that if you have sell orders against stock, they can't lend it out? Is there any truth to have sell orders against stock, they can't lend it out? I don't know, Jason. All right, AKAO, kind of your doji sandwich, bearish J-hook. You could be shorting this one with the expectation of seeing what it does once it gets to this level. If it breaks that level, you got a wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. BVN, there's your best friend to the downside. Doji gap down through the T-line. Again, one of the mining stocks. Where's your next likely target? Right around the 50. Why would that be a logical target? Because if this was your resistance level, right here is probably going to be your support level. For purposes of the doji rule, does it apply to all the long shadow candles, hammer, inverted hammer, hanging man, etc.? Each one has its own. What you're looking for is bullish confirmation or bearish confirmation. So that's why we're doing the basic signals for the next 8 weeks. What's your general look back? Seems like weeks. No, I don't know. I'm more interested, bah humbug, in what's happening right here. It doesn't matter whether the chart is like this or like this. I want to see what's happening right here. Now, the reason I have a little bit of look back is I want to see, is there a support level? Is there a resistance level? Is there a pattern? This kind of gives me a better feel for what's happening at this level. And STX, there's your kind of your evening star, and then your gap down. Notice what they did today. They came up and used the T-line as a resistance and backed off. And where are you right now? Right here. So if they open it lower, what's that tell us? It tells us this little support area in here isn't acting as support. You're either heading here or another potential move to the downside. And ACRS, where did this do a reversal signal? Right smack dab off the 200. So if you see a left-right combo, which is one of your strongest signals, where's your next likely target? Probably figure you're in a downtrend heading back in this direction. And again, the gold stocks, silver stocks, this is where you observe the obvious. What direction are you headed in? Slow downtrend. What do we got here? Kind of a doji, shooting star, gap down, and then another gap down today with a doji. What can we do with this one with a fairly safe trade setup? If it opens lower, what type of trade setup do we have? A bearish doji sandwich, which implies we're probably coming back down toward the bottom of the trend channel. All right, so that's kind of going through some of these where if you can identify the pattern setup, there's a simple reason why you want to go with patterns over just an uptrending or downtrending stock, because the patterns are much more easily recognizable. Number one, that's a word. Number two, usually the rate of return is going to be much greater than just an uptrending stock. Oh, ACRS. Yes. So this is the logic. If this opened positive, what was it telling us about our signal? We probably have a doji sandwich. If I was buying here and it starts trading up, where's my safety stop? Right where it opened, because logic says if it comes up here, it shouldn't come back down through that level. No, that would have been my stop right there. All right, I guess that's about all I got for tonight. Remember, in 2 weeks, we're going to be going through the process of not only those folks that are fairly new that are learning the just the basic candlesticks. Again, the logic that is behind the formation of candlestick signals is what human nature has done for hundreds of years. So once you have that information, you've got at least a firm foundation for knowing which direction or which trades are going to be in your favor. But to put that even in better context or better probabilities, there's combinations like the doji gap up or the left-right combo or the fry pan bottom breakout. These all have high probability directional moves, and not only directional moves, but very strong directional moves. In your book, Profitable Candlestick Trading, you mentioned the secondary patterns. Do you still find them relevant today? No, the secondary patterns are basically the rest of the candlestick signals. If you use the 12 major signals, you're going to have more trades than you're ever going to be able to handle. And those 12 major signals are not only going to give you a good supply of trades, but they're going to give you the strongest trades. The other signals and patterns are less relevant in the sense that they do work, but you don't see them occur often enough to even spend mental time and energy trying to learn them. Do is occasionally once a month go back through and just kind of browse through all the signals and patterns, just so that if you happen to see one in a market trend, you don't have to know what it is or the name of it. You just have to know that it's a signal, and you can flip back to the book and say, oh yeah, that's this. So if it's not as relevant as a major signal, you probably might be doing something else with a major signal. And or if it's doing something where it's giving you a good strong pattern breakout, then it becomes more relevant. But I would say 99.99% of the time, I'm trading off one of the 12 major signals. All right. Any other questions, general questions on candlesticks? If not, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 4.2 seconds, do the next double line. All right. All right. Mitch. Another one you can be buying on the J-hook pattern on Positive Trading. If I was buying on Positive Trading tomorrow, I would be using today's open as my stop. We already did MHLD. You can be buying this one on Positive Trading coming off the scoop pattern. Oracle, I don't trade very often, only because it's an institutional type trader. But Right now it's got a good pattern to it. There's your fry pan bottom, and it looks like it's broken out through this level. You stay long until you see a sell signal. Hess, you can stay long on this one. Obviously at the 50, you want to see what it does because you do have a downtrend. You want to see if they can get it through the 50. Southwest, another one you can be buying. There's your piercing signal. Again, piercing signal is different than a bullish engulfing. Notice, again, here's what everybody was talking about last week as far as your white soldier. It's not a, I don't think it is a signal. I will not pay attention to this signal at all. The worst or best case scenario, it might have a bounce, but it usually runs out of steam at the first resistance level. I'm looking for one of the 12 major signals, which is the piercing signal in this case. Tesla had a good strong day. Another one that has broken this down trending trend line. Oops. With a kicker signal off the 50. I would suspect there's at least more upside first target up here, so at least puts you in the right direction. Oh, somebody was, again, all right, here's the link again. This is the link for the training session. Again, this kind of narrows down your analysis that if you see bunch of good trades, which ones are the best ones to have your money in. So just very simple logic. If the market is turning, you can see it's in an uptrend, you obviously want to be in the best price moves during that uptrend. BZUN, you can stay long. Simply use the T-line as your stop. Lyco, and nothing real wildly exciting on this one. You can see you don't have any great major trend. No real reversal signal. I'd be someplace else. HDP, stay long as it stays above the T-line. So if I was long right now, my safety stop would be down below today's low. I wouldn't want to see it come back through that level. Chem sold off hard over the last couple of days. Still not anything good. You had your left-right combo, gap down through the T-line. If you're short, you stay short. And CDNA, pull back. If yes, can you tell me where it will finish? Well, you can see you're obviously in a wedge type formation moving sideways. I wouldn't want to see it trade at all now back below the T-line. That would tell me they're breaking this direction. It needs to stay up above the T-line. But it's not a real great chart right now. So here was the obvious. Take a step back here. Kind of a big fry pan bottom. Once it got up here, look how far away you were from the T-line. That's when I would have flipped to my 10-minute chart and be ready to take profits. That was when it moved from here up to here. It was up almost 75% that day. You get a stock that's moved 75%, you start watching to see when and where they start taking their profits. HTM, ATHM, how's that? Just stay long. You're looking for the breakout through this level. AAOI, nothing here yet. If you're short, you stay short. It's not moving with any great resiliency to the downside. So if you're short, if it opened positive tomorrow, I'd probably close out the position. Got a bullish Harami, little inverted hammer type signal. If they have enough gumption to get it up above the T-line, you want to be out of it. YMO, oh, another one. I don't know. I bet you died to donuts. That spike was, yep, early in the day. So if I see something big like this, again, I'll flip not only to my 10-minute chart, but if it's doing it all in that first 10-minute time frame, you flip to your 5-minute chart and possibly even your 1-minute chart to tell you, all right, that's where the selling has started. Apple we did, or did we do? Just nothing there. Oh, I didn't do the biggies, did I? Got to do Netflix. Netflix still in a nice steady uptrend. We did Tesla. NVIDIA, even though it had a strong day, you can see what the trajectory is. You're still in this wedge formation. So I wouldn't be playing with this one yet. See, we just did Apple. Amazon still stuck sideways. Wouldn't be long or short at Amazon. Nugget got hit today. All the gold stocks got hit. There is your dark cloud and a gap down. That's where you want to be nimble enough to say, if I was long, I want to be out of it on the gap down. And Labu, still toppy in here. Definitely do not want to see it trade back below the T-line. Facebook, nothing wildly exciting. If you happen to be long, you can stay long, but it's just a low. It's in the fry pan bottom. I'd be more apt to watch to see what it does once it breaks out through that level. HP, just stay long as it stays above the T-line. SYNT, nice little fry pan bottom breakout. You can be buying this one. That's a good looking chart. Oh, what the heck was that? Bird or Boyd? I'd put a buy stop above today's high. If it comes up through there, it's doing this fry pan bottom breakout. CELG, you stay long as it stays above the T-line. However, you've got a bearish Harami, you've got a hanging man type signal. It better open positive. If it opens lower tomorrow, I'd be taking profits. That's telling you it's confirming the potential sell signals. EHC probably wouldn't be long or short on this one. Just nothing there right now to be a compelling chart. TXNP, TNXP, I said that right. Stay long. Safety. Put your stop just below today's low. It shouldn't come back through that level. TRVG. Nothing here. If you're short, you stay short. Probably if I was short and it opened positive tomorrow after today's bullish Harami, I'd close out the short position. ADSK, yes, stay long. You had a left-right combo. You're in a fry pan bottom and you're right at the breakout. I'd stay long on this one. CGNX. Just stay long on this one. Good chart. BNTV, nice J-hook pattern. I'd be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow, breaking out through this level. Notice somebody was asking, how do you know it's a pullback? Notice the decisiveness or the indecisiveness on this pullback. They weren't selling it off with any great resiliency. And then they told you what they're doing coming out of this indecisive stage. Now they're telling you you're at a breakout. You still got a lot of upside potential as far as your stochastics are concerned. Lowe's backed off today. but it did it so indecisively. Same thing with Home Depot. Backed off, but did so indecisively. So it's probably a knee-jerk reaction to the hurricanes not being as devastating as first thought coming through Florida. But the rationale, I'm sure, will kick in that there's still going to be a lot of good sales for those companies. LBY or LBTYA. Oh, I don't know if it could go to 28.5, but yes, that would be one of the targets. I'd probably use that as a first target. Now, this is a case where you could put on this one. The answer would be, well, let's put on our Fibonacci retracement. Well, it's already broken through the 38% retracement. Now we see if it comes to the 50, or if it hits this support level, or if it hits this level. So that's not to say it's going to hit one of these levels. It's just telling us, all right, when it gets to one of these levels and we see a buy signal, then that more than likely is where they're starting to buy. ITSE, boy, notice how far away you've moved from the T-line. You've got a good profit on this one ever since the message. So I would suspect you're sitting right on the 3T line. I would want to see this open positive tomorrow. If it opens lower, you know which way they're still taking it back toward the T line. ABEO, stay long. Just use the T line as your stop. Allstate came up hard, but did a doji type day. This will also be a reaction to the probably the hurricane wasn't as devastating as everybody thought, but after the knee-jerk reaction, then they got to start thinking, well, they're probably still going to have some problems here. So if it opens lower, you want to stay short if you happen to be short. Now, the true place to have stopped out is right here. If you're in the oversold area and they have enough strength previous days open, close out the position. You can always buy it back or re-short it. Apple, nothing here of any great consequence. GNRC, coming back to where you suspect it would. So here's that perfect case where if they gap it up in the overbought condition that far away from the T-line, set your stop at the open, or at worst case, at the previous day's close. Because notice what happened right here. They gapped it up and that far away from the T-line. That should be telling you, start watching for your profit taking. Kiwi, stay long. Look for the, see what they do at the 50. Next gap is up here. Let's see, can we get the SPY over here? Yeah, that broke out nicely. The Russell, nice J-hook bobble breakout. All the indexes are implying there's going to be more upside. Zynga, nothing. You can look at a chart and say, it's not going anywhere. Move your money someplace else. There'll be a time when it will become relevant again. It might be a breakout to the upside or a strong signal. But right now, I wouldn't be long or short this one because it's not telling you it's going anywhere. This one I'd be more apt to be buying, especially if it opened positive tomorrow above the 200. Tells me my next target is at least the 50 and or fill in this gap. That was NTAP. TRUP. You can be buying this one again also on a positive open up through the 50. Your left-right combo down here. SIG. Stay long as it's 45. And again, there was your message. Doji gap up And then the next day they told you the profit taking was over. You could. If you're looking at Nugget, you could be buying dust. Piercing signal, gap up. We did IMMU. That's probably going to be recommended because of the J-hook type pattern. So if this is wave one that went about 6.5 points, that tells you they're probably heading up toward the $19 range. CNAT was our bobble breakout. You stay long on this one. And snap, same scenario. Your bobble breakout, you stay long as it stays above the T-line. STI. This one's a case where if you'd been short, you covered your short position on the positive open. I wouldn't necessarily be going long just yet until you see a confirmation above the T-line. CBay, if you were short, I would have covered the short today, but I wouldn't be going long. There's nothing of any great consequence on this one right now. Fitbit, another one that if you'd been short, you would covered it today, wouldn't be going long just yet. And CRUS, same scenario. If you'd been short, you covered the short, I wouldn't, I don't know. Is that a kicker signal? Not quite a kicker signal, but it probably implies there's going to be some more upside. That was serious. ADSK, topping tails. What do you think about topping tails like in ADSK? Am I looking at this right? Topping tails. Would you wait for the breakout? You've got a left-right combo right here. So it's covered all of this resistance. This one actually closed here, so you're actually trading above any of the recent highs as far as closing. I would still be long on this one. LCI, nothing wildly exciting, but as long as it stays above the T-line, you can stay with it. Wouldn't be my number one choice, but it's moving in the right direction. Twilio, same scenario. You're up in the overbought condition, have a safety stop at today's open. Shouldn't come back down through that level. Oh yeah, I don't know what I even hit to get those bars. Let's see. That's the truck. Now I'm actually down to about 15 or 17 cars. I've sold 6 or 8 just because I didn't have enough room in the barn. Couldn't move cars around. All right. These markets are definitely showing good strength and showing strong breakouts. So even if there's some consolidation tomorrow, I would still suspect there's going to be still going to be some more upside. But as you can see, they haven't been able to sell this market off. They find support levels and then they bounce back up from there. Yeah, Todd, I was telling somebody everything that I wanted to do as far as paving, doing roofs, building a barn. I figured out what it should cost. Then I would double it to be safe, and the bids usually came in triple. So somehow I missed the inflation period. Oh, if I wash a car any time now, I just pull it out for a couple of days and let the rain wash it off. All right, everybody. We should see some more upside. I wouldn't be too surprised to see a little bit of consolidation before they take it up from here. But it's basically telling us the investor sentiment is still solid, but they aren't selling this market off. So with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat rooms tomorrow. We'll see you then.